All right, so maybe 2025 is the year that you're looking to buy your first house and you have absolutely nowhere to start, which is why you landed up here or on YouTube or on Google or on TikTok or wherever, because you're trying to find more information on how you do that and what is the first step you take. Well, 2025, if this is your goal, one, congratulations, it's an amazing goal to have. Two, I'm calling this the ultimate first-time homebuyer's guide because I have seen a lot of the first-time homebuyers guides out on YouTube and things, and I'm gonna be honest with you. There is a lot of information on those that aren't really pertinent and don't really set you up for success and give you the steps that you need to take to get to where you want to be. A lot of those are just full of information that you just don't need. And so I'm going to try to compact it down into how do we actually get you from point A to point B and what those steps should look like. And so it's actually tangible. And so the first thing I want to talk about is the idea that you aren't supposed to know what you're doing. Like, you're not supposed to. And so it's okay to feel like you don't know what's happening and you need to reach out to people like me or like a lender or like a title officer to help you understand what the heck you need to do. It'd be like me trying to do whatever you do for work, right? If you're an engineer or if you work in a factory or you drive trucks, like I would have no idea what the heck I'm doing. This is the mentality that I want you to have. I want you to be naive and I want you to feel open to asking as many questions as you possibly can without feeling like you're quote unquote asking a stupid question. There's literally, like the cliche, there's literally no such thing as a stupid question when it comes to buying your first house. When it comes to buying a house in general, even like, you know, if this is your first house, maybe your parents, your grandparents, they've probably bought 5-6 homes throughout their entire life, maybe. You've done something 5 or 6 times throughout 30 or 40 years. Like, you're not gonna understand what the heck is going on. You're gonna forget, you're gonna have to be reminded, like you just don't understand. And that's totally okay. That's why people like me exist, to help guide you and educate you to get you from point A to point B. The second thing is, with a first-time home buyer, there's what I call a come to Jesus moment. And this is where reality and expectations clash. You need to keep in mind, this is your first house. This isn't your forever home. This isn't going to be a perfect home. This might not check every single box. It is literally a tool to leapfrog you into something bigger, better, badder in the future. And this is by far the biggest thing to take away from this video. As a first-time buyer, the most important thing you can do is just get into something. You want to start building that equity. You want to start applying your monthly payment that you pay towards rent into something that will pay off in the future. So whatever that may be, whether it's a townhouse, a condo, a starter home that's a little smaller, maybe doesn't check every single box. It won't have the pool, it won't have the updated kitchen, whatever you're looking for. Maybe it won't have those things. But if you can get into something, stay in there for a few years, and then leapfrog your way into something better, meaning you sell that, you take out the cash and you put it down on something bigger, or you have enough equity you can pull out and then you buy another house. Now you keep that one as an investment and you buy another single family that's similar and you start building your real estate portfolio, which is what I always recommend. And I try to talk all my sellers out of actually selling and keeping it so you can actually build long-term wealth. But this is how you do it. You buy your first property. It's the hardest one to buy because saving up for that down payment is tricky. Saving up for closing costs, which we'll get into later, is tricky. I understand. But buying your first house, it's the most difficult house to buy. After you purchase your first one, then it's just a waiting game. You know, you sit there, you make your payments, you build equity, there's appreciation, there's depreciation, but you're always paying down your debt service. So you're always building equity every single month. Now, when it comes to the amount of money you need, which is also kind of a misunderstanding when it comes to a first-time home buyer, is you need your down payment and you also need something called closing costs. And your closing costs are going to be your title, lender fees, and some other kind of other line items like prepaid HOA, taxes, and a bunch of other stuff. But this is roughly 2-ish% of the purchase price. So if you're buying a $300,000 house, then your closing costs would be $6,000. The $6,000, the closing costs are literally, it's just a fee. Like, it doesn't go towards your down payment. It doesn't go towards the purchase price of your house. It's literally just saying, hey, here's $6,000. Thank you for the services that you have provided. And then there you go. Now, obviously there's things that we can do to mitigate or totally eliminate those via seller concession, where we get the seller to cover them. But we can do a lot of different things with seller concessions, which we'll get to down the road. When it comes to a down payment, depending on credit score, income, DTI, which is your debt to income ratio, you'll be somewhere between 3 and 5%. First-time homebuyer, good credit, 3%. First-time homebuyer under like a 680, 700 credit score, probably 3.5%. There are down payment assistance programs though. Okay, and I want you to imagine this. Something we used to do all the time. You can use down payment assistance. January 21st, 2025. The way the market is, it's very soft, meaning it's a very heavy buyer's market. Because of interest rates and affordability, there's not a lot of buyers in the market, which is creating more inventory. More inventory, less buyers, meaning homes sit on the market longer. When homes sit on the market longer, then we see price decreases and we see more leverage for a buyer to go get a better deal. And that's the current market we're in. So what you can do as a first-time home buyer is you can use DPA, which is down payment assistance, to cover your down payment. Then we can go and get concessions, money from the seller to cover all your closing costs. And so you can literally get into a house with about $1,000. And that's a real situation. And obviously when it comes to that, you have to be, it's a little more selective on which houses we can go to because we need maximum leverage. And so we need a house that's been sitting on the market a little bit longer. And so you have to be a little bit more open to what you're getting into. But that is a real thing that could happen if you want to have a conversation. Most first-time home buyers are like, I don't have enough money, or I have too much debt, or there's some sort of excuse and you just don't want to have the conversation. You need to open up about having a conversation with somebody so you can actually get the right information so you can make the best decision and get into something as soon as you can. Because when you wait, then the market changes and you're going to miss out on chances of appreciation or chances on getting the most amount of leverage, or you just miss opportunities. And we don't want that. We want you to get into something as soon as possible so it can start working for you. We want your money to work for you. It's the key to building wealth. So with your down payment, so let's say it's 3% of whatever, right? Of $300,000. Now we're talking 15 grand. And then we have closing costs on top of that, which is another 6 grand. So we're 21 grand. You can get that 15 from DPA. You can get the 6 from the seller and you walk away. You get into a house with very little into it. You're gonna need a little bit of money for home inspections and various things. But like if you, let's say you have 2 grand, like have the conversation with someone. Never, and hear me on this, okay? Never Google mortgage lenders or mortgage professionals or use someone online. Use the lender your agent recommends, period. I'm telling you, you will thank me later. Use the lender your agent recommends. Your agent has used that lender for most likely hundreds of transactions and they trust that lender. It's someone that they can go to at 9 o'clock at night and say, hey, like what happened here or what's going on? And they can ask questions. If you go to like Google and you go to Chase Bank or Wells Fargo or Rocket Mortgage or any of these bigger companies, then they're not there to help you. For example, my lender, Todd, he owns 20 rentals. He's very well versed in finance and money management. And that is someone that you can tap into for the rest of your life if you use him as a lender. Like you can call him and say, hey, I really want to like buy this Airbnb or invest in this Airbnb, or I'm thinking about maybe keeping my house, renting it out, buying another one. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Give me some guidance, right? These are people that understand this world that you want in your corner. So like if you contact me and say, hey, I'm looking to buy a house, I'm going to say, hey, talk to Todd. ASAP. Talk to Todd. Don't be scared of the credit pull. That's another big one. Most first-time home buyers are afraid of the credit pull. You go talk to a buyer who's buying a $3 million house, they could care less because they know this is the way it goes and getting into something requires something. The credit pull, maybe it hit your credit for 6-7 points, but now you're going to get a ton of information that you can use to put yourself in a better position financially. Don't be afraid to talk to the lender, have a credit pull. They're literally there like to help you, just like I am. Like they'll text you, they're super cool, they talk to you normal. You know, like they're there to help you and guide you and do an amazing job for you. So then you send them more people. They're not there to just turn a deal and then move on and kick you to the curb. They want to help you out. Don't be afraid to talk to a mortgage lender. Don't be afraid of the credit pull. I'm telling you, it's going to help you more than it'll hurt you. Once you do that, like the world is your oyster. Now we know what the heck we're talking about and we can quit having conversations based on theoreticals. That is like with a first-time buyer, that is the thing that is most common is, well, what if this? Like, let's eliminate the what ifs and let's talk about, hey, this is the situation. Let's go. Like this is what we need to tackle. If your credit needs work, they put you on a credit repair plan. If your credit's amazing and you just lack income, then we brainstorm how we get more income on paper so we can afford this house. Whatever it might be, there are ways to make things happen. And it all starts with you being open enough to say, hey, I'm ready to have a conversation. Those are the most important parts. I'm telling you. Anything else you see online, it's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. As a first-time buyer, you need to just get started. You need to get over that fear of having the conversation. You need to get over the idea that it's impossible for you to buy a house or impossible to save up for a down payment, or the idea of I don't want to talk to a lender because then they're going to look at my finances and they're going to make fun of me, or they're going to look at my low credit score and they're going to judge me, or they're going to hit my credit and it's going to make it worse when I'm trying to build it back up. All of these are just misconceptions in your head. You need to get over it. Like, we're here to help. We're here to guide you. We're here to put you in the best position as possible. We're not here to screw you over, I promise. I promise. We're not trying to churn and burn. We want to help people put themselves in the best position possible. Even if you're 2 years out, if you come at Matt, if you come to me and say, hey, I'm looking to buy a house in 2026, I'm going to say, talk to a lender. Let's open up a file. Let's get you going. Let's make sure your credit's on track. Let's make sure there's nothing hidden in your credit that's going to hurt when it's time to buy. Let's look at things so we can get a game plan. It's so important. It's so important. Again, if you're looking to buy in 2025, your first house, one amazing step. Buying your first house. I remember when I bought mine. On closing day, you go get your keys, standing in the living room. There was this real sense of pride that I did this, right? I was in my 20s something. I'm like, wow, like I own this. There's a real sense of pride that comes with that and you're obsessed with it. And then you can use that, right? And then I sold it and I made $100 and something grand from selling that I could leapfrog into my next one. And then I could pull equity out of this house that I'm in now and I could go buy an investment house. There's all kinds of different things you can do once you get into your first house and you let time start working for you. And you know all the cliches. You're throwing money away when you're paying rent. You're throwing money away. Stop throwing money away. Get into a house. Let's have a conversation. How can we help you? And we go from there. Everyone's different. Everyone has different goals. Everyone has different incomes and different areas they want to live in. And as a first-time buyer, be flexible with a few things. There's 3 different things you need to be aware of. Price, condition, and location. Meaning, if you want a single family home and you want 3-bed, 2-bath, and you want 1,800 square feet and you have a certain price point you're trying to stay in, then maybe you have to go to the outskirts and then you're gonna have more drive time and you're gonna be a little outside of town. But let's say you don't wanna be outside of town. It's like, okay, well, I'll sacrifice the house so I'll get a townhouse in town. You have to understand how your money is going to be best spent for what serves you the best, right? My first house was a condo. First house was a condo. Did amazing things for me. Propelled me to do awesome things. So just get into something that works for you, your lifestyle, what you want within your budget. And that's it. As a first-time buyer, those are the things you need to focus on. I promise you. Those are the only things you need to worry about. Save up the money if you don't want to use DPA or get a gift from mom or dad or grandparents, whatever. Closing costs in the market we're currently in, we can get covered by the seller. If not, roughly 2%. So on a $300,000 house, we're talking about 21 grand all in, and get your expectations aligned with what is reality. That's it. And you're not supposed to know, guys. I cannot say that enough. You're not supposed to know what the heck is going on. So reach out to me. Even if you're like out of state, right? Even if like I'm in Arizona, even if you're in Florida, like just reach out to me and I can at least point you in the right direction. I'm here to help as many people as I can, period. Like my goal is to fill an arena at my funeral. Like that's my goal. So I just want to help people. So let me know what you need. Do all the like, subscribe stuff. There you go. Okay, my name's Jeremy Fuhst, signing out. Goodbye.